as you're cutting with a Facetron or any fastening machine, you're going to get splatters of swarf. That's water with abrasive cut pieces of mineral, and they're going to splatter and they're going to stick in this area. And then as you adjust the head of the machine, and the head slides up and down the mast to set different heights for angles, then that abrasive can damage the inside of the head. So to protect the inside of the head, I'm going to show you 3 different tricks right now that this is going to reduce the amount of time that you're going to spend cleaning and increase the amount of time that you're going to spend cutting. So when we're assembling the machine, trick number 1 is set the mast about 2/3 of the way through the head, lock it gently in place, and you can buy polyethylene sleeve. I think the 3-inch size works the best. I cut this is about an 8 or 10 inch piece, and we just slide it over the bottom of the mast sleeve and just push it up. Just force it to accordion like this before we assemble the sleeve of the mast to the foot of the mast. And then after we assemble it, this polyethylene sleeve will slide down all the way against the foot of the mast, and it'll protect this entire area from splatters. And once this gets a bunch of junk on it, you can just pull it off and throw it away. It's very inexpensive. So that's one trick, one easy way of doing this. To assemble this, I mentioned always use 2 hands to control the entire head. Okay. So you see here I'm holding the head with both hands, and I'm controlling the mast, and I'm holding the polyethylene sleeve up with my fingers in my hand. Then the core of the mast slides inside, the sleeve slides down over it gently, all the way until it bottoms out. Now don't just turn loose of it, because you don't want the head to fall. Sometimes the head can slide down. There's our polyethylene sleeve. It travels all the way to the bottom, and as we change altitudes with the head, the polyethylene accordions, and it tends to expand to fit and protects the mast from getting too dirty. One of the areas that's most important to protect for cleanliness is the black area of the core, right here at the bottom, because as we adjust our micrometer and go up and down, the mast is going to slide on that. And if we get swarf and abrasive materials on this core area, that place will really abrade, and it'll cost you to buy a new mast. Now I'm going to show you 2 other tricks for keeping the mast sleeve area and the foot, the core of the foot, for keeping those areas clean and letting you spend more time cutting and less time cleaning. One of the tricks that will work if you don't have or don't buy the polyethylene sleeve, you can get snack-sized Ziploc baggies. Just these little snack-sized, half sandwich size. Take a razor knife or a letter opener, whatever's handy, and cut the ends out. Just open them up. Open both ends. And then you can take the baggie, wrap it around the mast, and just put it together with a Ziploc. Sometimes they're a little tricky to get the Ziploc lined up. Get the good ones with the color. This works the same as the polyethylene sleeve. It will accordion as you move the head up and down the mast, and it'll make a nice protector for the entire mast. That's one of the tricks that I like to use. Works really well. It's nice because when you go all the way down, you want to do girdles, If for any reason this thing being wadded up here is any kind of an aggravation, you can just grab the Ziploc and just unzip it, pull it off, and then put it back when you go back to other angles. Another trick that works really well, you can take a paper towel or a tissue. I like these half-size paper towels. You can wrap these guys around the mast, use one of these little clamp-type paper clips, and just clip those guys together. They'll also accordion. You may have to straighten them out a little bit when you change angles, but they work pretty good. They're also absorbent, so they slurp up wet stuff. My favorite is, of course, the polyethylene sleeve. It's you got to put it on when you assemble the machine, but it seems to work the best of the bunch. The other two tricks, they also work really well. We want to be particularly careful with the Facetron head because bumping this lever releases the entire weight of the head. That's one of the reasons we're always handling the head with two hands. As we're doing that, you notice that the quill can point downward, and if we were to release the head and it were to fall, the quill, the end of the quill, or if there's a dop in there, the dop could bang into the deck, and then we could damage the deck. We might bend the quill, bend the dop. All kinds of damage can happen from that. So part of our machine handling is to always keep that left hand underneath the yoke so that whenever we're changing height, if the head begins to travel downward, we're catching it by the quill, and the quill will automatically bend upwards. You see, as the head goes down, because my left hand is there, I'm automatically directing the quill up and away from the lap, away from the deck, away from the platen, away from anything that it could bang into. Always two hands, and always make sure your left hand is controlling the angle of the quill. So as it comes down, the quill always comes up automatically. If I want to go down to cut a girdle, this always comes up, and then I lower it into position. Even when I raise it, I'm always holding the quill up and then lowering it to the angle. Another trick I like to use for making sure that this locking lever doesn't get bumped and that the head doesn't drop. This is a risk particularly that beginners tend to have. I like to use a nice rubber band. The size that's used for asparagus seems to be just about right. And I put that around the back of my protractor, around the edge of the head, and around the locking lever. Just like that. It's a low-tech spring loader for this locking lever. It makes it harder to bump. If you do bump it, it releases the head. It's not going to travel more than a fraction of an inch. And that way, when you're moving it up and down, you have to hold this lever to get motion. And when you release it, you can push on it just a little bit. You have a nice positive lock. And that way, protects you against small mishaps around the lever that can become a big mishap if your quill impacts with your deck.